Alright, so I will be talking about a movie that I have seen so many times that came out 2008 and was inspired by Godzilla. And I will be talking about Cloverfield. For those of you that don't know what Cloverfield is a found footage movie. So as you can see on the case, there's like a camera lens. It's a found footage movie about New York having a rampage with a gigantic monster. Now, why am I talking about Cloverfield today? Is because this was something I recently this was a movie that I recently revisited yesterday and started watching. Now, this movie was inspired by Godzilla, so I'm sure you guys know what Godzilla is. For those of you that don't, it was a Japanese monster that was kind of like, I think it was a reptile. It kind of looked like a gigantic reptile on two legs that I guess was, I don't remember what it was created from. I mean, you can, it was created from something, but you can correct me in the comment section, but it was directed by Cloverfield was directed by J.J. Abrams produced by J.J. Abrams. So him and his son went to Tokyo, and there was like a bunch of different toy stores with like a bunch of toy Godzillas, and he noticed that Japan had this like this iconic monster that was always so popular, and I'm talking about Godzilla. And he thought, hey, I wish we had a monster like that. So the point of Cloverfield was to give America their own monster, like how Japan has Godzilla. Now, I did see this back in 2008 when it was out in theaters. At the time, it did scare me because, so keep in mind, I was only 11. 2, I didn't exactly know what I was actually watching. So I went with back in 2008, it was March, I think. I was in Missouri, and me, my parents, my uncle, and aunt, and my sister, we went to Cloverfield in theaters back in March, I think. And I had no idea what I was actually watching. And once the chaos started to happen, I freaked out because I didn't realize what was going on. And then I saw this gigantic monster that I've never even seen before, that had really dark eyes and was huge and had lungs on his head. And at the time, that movie did scare the crap out of me. Now that it's now that it's been over 15 years and I've seen it enough times, it's actually not that bad. But at the time, the closest thing I've ever even seen to a scary movie was Jumanji and Zathura. And they're not even categorized as horror. I'm not even sure if Cloverfield's categorized as horror, but I could be wrong. Now, over the years, I did keep on watching it. A year later, I went to McDonald's with my dad, and he talked about wanting to watch Cloverfield again. So I was like, you know what? So I was like, you know what? Okay, it's time to conquer my fear. I should watch it again. I so that night I actually watched it with him. Did it scare me as much? No. Did it still freak me out? Yes. Um, but then, like, over the years, like by the time I was in like the 7th grade, I started watching it more and more and more, and the more I watched it, the easier it got. So from my experience, the more you watch something that freaks you out, the easier it gets. And one reason why I like Cloverfield is because, one, it's found footage. I do like found footage. Now, so for those of you that don't exactly know, now for those of you that don't know what Cloverfield is, and it's you don't but you don't really care too much for, and you don't really care to have it spoiled for you. If you don't want any spoilers, then just exit out of the video. So Cloverfield is about a few friends that throw a party for Rob, who's leaving New York to go to Japan, and then in the middle of that party, the lights go out, and they realize that there's like an oil tanker on the news that's been crashed. Statue of Liberty's head is gone, and there was an explosion when they went on the roof to see what's going on, and I don't even know where that. It's like I don't even know where that explosion came from, which was weird. But later on, they realize that there's this gigantic monster that's rampaging, that's like walking around in New York City, and Rob, one of the main characters, finds out that his ex-girlfriend was stuck in her apartment building, and it turns out she's hurt and can't move. So they go to save her. They go to reach her and find her, and they end up encountering the monster on the way and trying to get past him, while the military is trying to kill the monster. Now, the sad part about it is that it was kind of all for nothing, because Rob and Beth end up dying anyway, and so do all the other characters except one. But the ending was so, like, at the time, it was the ending that freaked me out the most. Now imagine you're HUD, and you run back to grab your camera, and you turn, and the next thing, the gigantic monster is standing right in front of you, and it's just looking at you. Now, there were a few seconds he wasn't looking at him, but he had a good chance to run, and I still don't understand why he didn't. But it did take me a while to watch that ending at the time. It's like now that I've seen like more found footage movies, Cloverfield is really not as scary anymore. However, when it comes to horror, I am a fan of found footage, because one, I think it's more scarier than regular movies, because it does create more jump scares, and it's like they're coming at you rather than you're actually seeing the jump scares and you're hearing like background music. So like usually the background music is what is what creates the jump scares usually. Found footage, they don't actually need background music to actually create the jump scares. The scary stuff itself is what creates the jump scare, because it's like it comes at you, at the camera, rather than seeing it happen to the character. Now, right now, because I am because I'm kind of working with myself, with God, I am trying to make better choices in life. Now, so I have avoided watching some found footage movies because. So, for those of you that might think that found footage is bad, let me be clear. Not all found footage movies are demonic. There is a large majority of found footage movies in the world that are demonic, and I do not recommend them. However, does that mean all the found footage movies involve demons? Absolutely not. There are a fair few that are okay. Now, if you don't like watching scary movies in general, then that's okay. But then don't watch found footage. But there are a few found footage movies that do not have anything to do with demons or witchcraft. This is one. This is a perfect example. This is a found footage movie about a monster rampage. This is a monster movie. There's also Wreck, which I think that's a zombie movie. Chronicle is not horror, but it's an action movie, but it's found footage too. There are a fair few good found footage movies out there, and if you like found footage, but you don't want to watch stuff that are demonic, I highly recommend this. This is found footage. It is a monster rampage movie. Will it scare? In today's standards, will it scare you? I don't think so. I think you should be fine. But if you look closely at this, you can see the monster. This is what it looks like if you've never seen it. And one of the things that Cloverfield actually does a really good job at. Now, it used to be that found footage was made independently, and it really was like micro budget. So micro budget is like roughly $40 to roughly $40,000. This is actually not micro budget. However, what it does a really good job of is explaining, one, they do have some characters I thought were unrecognizable, I've never really seen them before, but I don't know if they've played in any other movies before Cloverfield, so I don't know if they were actually actors before Cloverfield. Two, the quality was actually great. Honestly, though, I think it was too great, though. It looked a bit too cinematic. Three, and the one thing that I think Cloverfield nails, and it's the number one rule that found footage needs to do in order for it to be successful, is you gotta have a reason why there's a camera involved. Because if you're just holding a camera for no reason and you're just filming, it's nonsense. In order for a found footage movie to make sense, you gotta have a reason why there's a camera. And I don't think anything can top the other part is instead of saying, oh, I got a camera because no, you gotta explain your situation, and that will explain itself why there's a camera. For example, in Cloverfield, on the bridge, I'm gonna go back a little bit further than that. At the party, he right before the party, Lily tells Jason, "I want you to walk around with a camera and film people wishing Rob good luck at Japan." And he doesn't want to do it. So even though he said that he would do it, he gave it to another guy named Hud, who was putting up a sign that was saying, "We will miss you." And he said, "You're going to take the camera and film people wishing Rob good luck." So that's reason number one how they're justifying having a camera. Two, when the monster comes and Hud is like filming everything, by the time they're on the bridge, Rob says, "Are you still filming?" Then Hud says, "Yes. People are going to want to know how it all went down." And he says, "You could just tell them." He's like, "No, that would not work. People need to see what we're filming. People are going to watch this." You see, you got to explain why you have a camera without saying, "Hey, I got a camera because," no, like, you got to explain, like, you got to explain the situation or what you're doing. So when it comes to, like, explaining why there's a camera involved, I don't think anything could have topped that other than Cloverfield. So good job, J.J. Abrams, for actually doing that correctly. What else? I would say, I think I lost my train of thought for a second. Why was it found footage though? I think it was to, like, show a perspective. So, like, it was to show a monster rampage in New York from a group of characters' perspective. And sometimes when you tell stories, sometimes those stories benefit from being found footage. Cloverfield is one of them. When something happens, of course you're going to want to film it. Some people nowadays, they'll pull out their phone, they'll film it. Now, the reason why I think they did a really good job, and the thing that I like that they did a good job about talking about why there's a camera involved, I do think that they nailed that because making a found, according to Jason Blum, a found footage movie is a lot harder to make than a regular movie because you have to justify where the camera is, who's holding it, and why it's recording. They also said what you want to see in a found footage movies is situations in jeopardy. But most of the time when you're in jeopardy, unless you're a news person or something like that, no one's really holding a camera. Or at least most of the time. Now, I've been hearing, now that they've done a couple of sequels that, well, the first one, the first sequel, it didn't really seem connected with the first at all. But there's a lot of, like, Easter eggs that are connected with the first one that can be, like, hard to pick up on. The third one is definitely an origin of the monster. It's called Cloverfield Paradox. Now, they do show the monster at the very end of that one, and I think a lot of people say that it just grew a whole lot bigger, and that part probably takes place after the first movie, after New York is destroyed, and it's probably grown a lot bigger because originally it was a baby. I mean, according to the directors, the monster was a baby. and it was scared and it was looking for its mother. And they're saying at that point it grew like quadruple size. It's like, I think with that, so like his head was like coming right out of the clouds in the sky. That's how big it was in Cloverfield Paradox. I think with that size, I think it would have taken down Manhattan with one stomp. However, I do have a counter theory that that creature is not really the same creature. Yes, it's the same species, but I don't think it's exactly the same creature. You see, if the creature in the first movie was a baby and it was scared and was looking for its mother, maybe that creature at the end of Cloverfield Paradox is the mother of that creature. Why? Because yes, the creature in the first movie was huge, but it wasn't that big. I think they oversized that creature in Cloverfield Paradox, which I think that is the mother of the creature in the first one. And I do think it goes into the ocean, and then I don't know, like, I guess my theory is that either it goes into the ocean, gives birth and dies, or it lays an egg and it doesn't hatch for a certain amount of time and awakens, and it comes out of the ocean and then it's like starts looking for its mother, because according to the directors, the roaring sound in the movie, it's not a threat. It's just yelling for its mother because it's lost and scared. It doesn't even know where he is. Now, if the mother of that creature actually shows up in the next movie, I think Manhattan or anywhere else would be screwed, because it would take down the entire Manhattan Island with almost one stomp. Do I think there's room for a sequel? Because they're talking about like doing a sequel for the first Cloverfield. Do I think they could pick up from the first one? Yes, because there was no 100% guarantee whether or not Rob and Beth died. Yes, it. So yes, it. So yes, the bridge above them, like collapsed on them because a bomb like dropped on them, but at that moment they were still kind of alive, and then the footage cuts and then moves to like a different footage where it's like back in April. So like from May 23rd to April, when they were on Coney Island. There's actually an Easter egg. If you look really closely in the sky, you can see something like falling into the ocean. And people have actually predicted for years that that's the creature and where it came from. Now, there is also another theory now about. So I think Cloverfield Paradox could confirm this, because right before the people in space go back to Earth, and then right when it goes right through the clouds, that's when the monster shows up. I don't know if it eats them. I don't know if they survived, but I do think that that's probably that shuttle that probably lands in the ocean, like in the first movie. So, like, I don't know if that's I don't think that's actually confirmed. I do think it's a good theory. Do I think they can make a sequel? Yes, because there could be a chance that Rob and Beth could be alive, or one of them could still be alive. We don't know, because it was never confirmed whether or not they were dead, because the footage was cut. I mean, if they do a sequel, maybe they'll pick up where they left off. As much as I would want them to do found footage again with the next one, I doubt it's going to happen, and I do think that they're saying it's not going to be found footage. Well, and the reason why I would understand this is because I think the camera would be damaged. If they did a direct sequel and they picked up where they left off, the camera would be damaged. So they wouldn't be able to use it. So it can't be found footage. So the sequel can't be found footage because their camera is like broken. However, if they're gonna like pick up from where they left off with the first one, if they do a direct sequel, I'm not sure what that's gonna look like as a regular film. But I hear it's supposed to come out like in 2028, I think. And I do hope that, as much as I would love to have it as found footage, I highly doubt it's going to be, because because they don't have a camera anymore, because it's probably damaged from the destruction of that small bridge in Central Park. 2, found footage isn't popular anymore. At this point, I don't think anyone even knows what that is anymore. Could they make it found footage? Will they make it found footage? I don't know. At this point, do I think they'll make it found footage? I don't think they will. Because of the 2 reasons. Because the footage could be damaged, and the cameras, because the camera could be broken, and like they don't have a camera anymore. 2, because found footage is not, people are just not into found footage anymore. So how they can pull off a sequel, though, let's say the creature actually died, and the military started finding the 2 survivors in critical condition. Maybe one of them dies. Maybe they both live. But they find them. Maybe they'll take them, and then they'll take them to another city in a hospital. And then maybe a few years later, maybe when New York is in the middle of trying to rebuild it, it's like maybe the mother comes, much bigger, and they'll probably have a bigger problem. I mean, because there's a chance that this baby creature might have its mother somewhere, I do think that there is room for a direct sequel. And because it's never been confirmed whether or not Rob and Beth have actually died under that small bridge, because even after the bridge collapsed on top of them, you could still hear them talking, and then the footage cuts. So we don't really know for sure if they died. But could they have survived? Perhaps. Could they do a direct sequel from there? Perhaps. Could it be found footage, though? Probably not. Because they don't have a camera to actually make it to found footage. So they might have to, like, start off with, like, as a regular movie. And if they do come out with a sequel with the same kind of monster, I am looking forward to it, and I hope it comes out theatrically. I mean, Cloverfield Paradox, I don't think it ever did. That was just a Netflix movie. But yeah, if you saw this in theaters, or if I'm not the only one that got scared watching this movie as a little kid, tell me your experience in the comments below. If you've seen this, leave a like. if you have any like other Cloverfield theories, comment below. If you think there should be a direct sequel, comment and like. If you think Rob and Beth survived, comment and tell me what you think will happen next.